Good evening, everybody. My name is Jussi Kajala and co-founder of 3DBear. We are the world's leading company in do-it-yourself virtual learning environments using augmented and virtual reality. I'm really happy that so many of you are here with me today in this webinar. The theme of today is how this metaverse bloom that has emerged, how is it affecting learning? How is it affecting education? And how can educators, learners around the world utilize extended reality for better learning outcomes, to teach also the 4Cs, 21st century skills, creativity, communication, critical thinking that are so needed in the work life today. The webinar is structured so that I will begin with giving you examples and background of what is augmented reality, what is the theme that we are tackling today. Then I'll show examples of how augmented reality and metaverse technologies can be used in education. Then you will have a task yourself that I will ask you to do, a hands-on exercise during this webinar. And for this purpose, if you want to take part in this activity, I kindly ask you to download the 3DBear app, 3DBear, all written together. You'll find it in App Store and Google Play, and you will need the app 20 minutes in, 30 minutes into the webinar when we will do a task together with the app. So it might make sense to download the app now if you have the opportunity. Okay, so without further ado, again, my name is Jussi Kajala. I'm the CEO of 3DBear. 3DBear is world's leading company providing do-it-yourself platform for augmented reality. Do-it-yourself means that our users can design their own scenes. They can build their own metaverse. And that is what 3DBear is about. It's about creativity. It's like a pen of the metaverse where you can build your own content. A little bit of a personal background. So I have a PhD in physics. I went to University of Cambridge in United Kingdom, and in Finland, where I'm from, I was responsible for developing the whole XR industry in Finnish Funding Agency of Innovation for 3 years before I founded 3DBear with my founding partners, some of which you see here on this slide. Our India operations are led by Ms. Divya Bhatt. And if you have interest in 3DBear's activities in India, she is your point of contact. Divya is here on the right. If you wish to contact us, any of our emails are just first name at 3dbear.io, and you can reach out to us. What is 3DBear? 3DBear has been recognized by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to be top 8 company in the world for XR in education. We are partners and integrated with all major platforms such as Apple, Google, and Microsoft. And our pedagogical approach of building your own metaverse has been recognized by several recognitions, including the Common Sense Education Top Pick for Learning in ISTA in the US. For schools who wish to use our services, we provide a strategic partnership for developing augmented and virtual reality solutions. So whatever simulation teaching needs your schools might have using these new age technologies, 3DBear is there for you. Don't hesitate to get in touch. Okay, but let's start. So what is augmented reality? So many of you must have heard about Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is an example of augmented reality. In it, you catch these virtual Pokemon that you don't see really in the real world, but when you look through a mobile phone screen, you see them and you're able to catch them by throwing a ball at them. So the Pokemon in this example are augmented. They are superimposed. They're added. So they are virtual element that you see as a part of the real world, although it's not actually there. It's augmented in the real world. So in Pokemon Go, you catch augmented monsters, but the tools that we are offering, you can you can build your own Pokemon or whatever your mind desires, and that's a huge differentiator. During COVID-19, remote and hybrid learning became drastically and crucially important for education. And during this period, the need for virtual learning environments was more dire than ever. And during this period, schools, especially those who taught hands-on skills, they understood that teaching these hands-on skills is impossible. How do you teach to cook if you don't get to kitchen without AR and VR technologies? And this is the big trend we are now exploring ourselves today, being able to simulate real world, emulate real world with these augmented and virtual reality technologies. If you're thinking, okay, now I get what AR is, augmented reality, it's like Pokemon Go, but what is VR? So let me just also answer that question. So virtual reality or VR is a different thing. We won't be speaking about it much today. We are focusing on AR, which is like Pokemon Go. But in virtual reality, you, for example, have goggles, and through the goggles, you see the virtual world. So you're completely in this digital virtual experience. And 3DBear also creates VR learning experiences, and those we won't be discussing that much today. So what is the first of all benefit of these augmented and virtual reality learning environments? I will show soon examples of such. So they enable remote teaching of hands-on and artistic skills. In Finland, I'm proud to say some students have been able to graduate using AR and VR because you couldn't get to school during COVID, where otherwise it wouldn't have been possible. They enrich the learning experience and they increase student motivation. So these are big themes of what we're discussing today. So let's start with examples. I start close to kind of job skills and work life. So let's take an example. This is Keuda Vocational School in Tuusula. They have incorporated the use of augmented reality to their interior design curriculum. So what you see here is an empty space. Usually they have 5 of these spaces in the campus where the students go and they design interior designs. Now, instead of doing it physically, where you go there and build a kitchen using what have you, you will design it virtually using completely augmented solution. And there's like a stand, there's clear instructions how you do it. Together with the teacher, we've built this learning environment which corresponds to their actual physical learning environment. So they have the same models that they would have available physically and more. Actually, with this digital solution, you can access millions of more 3D models than you could when you have restricted with the local construction material. So one of these 5 design spaces in this school, in this vocational school, is empty, and they do it completely digitally. The task is create an interior design, explore different materials, different colors, different compositions, and they are able to do it all virtually. And this actually saves time and money. So this is what the teacher says. When he doesn't use physical models, but builds everything virtually, they save thousands of euros and time every course. So this is actually a concrete benefit for the school in many ways. It doesn't replace actual construction. No, it adds onto it. They still have 4 different spaces where they build everything with their hands and with real material. But some exercises, like for example, choosing the different color combinations and compositions, it's actually easier to do digitally. And this is what we've done here. So let me just show a video example of this. So this is in a different context. In another school, they're practicing building retail displays using augmented reality. So here's a video example of that.
In this exercise, the student utilizes augmented reality for practicing retail product placement. First, the teacher creates a classroom for the students on the 3DBear website and adds students to the class one by one. After getting the task description, the student opens the 3DBear app and signs in by using their own name and the class ID given by the teacher. The 3D models used in the task can be found in the app by searching for urheiluesillepano. The task is to do retail product placement in a sports context, which the student can practice by making, for example, symmetrical and asymmetrical compositions. The task can easily be done at home on the student's own desk, but the school can also provide facilities for executing a bigger showroom entity. When the student is happy with their result, they can share it with the teacher in the form of a picture or a video. The teacher can then access the student's submissions in the Designs section of the 3DBear website.
Okay, so that was an example. Now we've looked at the examples that are very close at kind of a job skills
In
and
this
work
exercise,
life. And let's move to some other examples. I want to first give you kind of a different examples. So you see a wide variety of subjects that this can be used in. So let's look at the next example. This is a virtual arts exhibition. So this is arts. And it's actually one of the most famous arts academies in Finland, the Pekka Halonen Academy, and is the Tartu School in Estonia that created this virtual arts exhibition using augmented reality and 3DBear together. So what they did is that students, they built their artworks, which could be either physical or virtual. If there were 3D models like virtual, they could be brought directly into this augmented arts exhibition. If they were physical, they were scanned with the handheld device you see here to make them available in 3DBear. And part of the curriculum requirements for visual arts was to organize an exhibition of the work. So during COVID-19, again, this was not possible because you couldn't, invite people to an exhibition. So instead, they made the exhibition totally in augmented reality. So some of them did these wooden sculptures, and then we scanned them, and they were made into a virtual arts exhibition. So next, and this was actually displayed on one of the most prominent exhibition places in Helsinki, the Cable Factory. And the next video is about that, showing how they build this exhibition and how you can still access it in 3DBear if you have downloaded it.
what you see here is the world's first exhibition for anamorphic art executed in augmented reality. The exhibition was done by Keuda's Pekka Halonen Academy as well as Tartu School, and the collaboration between these two schools was facilitated by 3DBear. The students processed shared themes through their art and created three-dimensional art pieces either with traditional methods or with the help of 3D modeling. Physical art pieces were then transferred to augmented reality by 3D scanning. The exhibition was opened in spring 2021, but it is still accessible for everyone in the 3DBear app. With the help of the 3DBear app, each exhibition visitor can curate their own exhibition experience in their backyard or the nearest public park. The artworks from the project can be found by searching for Keuda Tartu. As is typical for anamorphic art, there are hidden meanings in each of the artworks that can only be found when looking at the artwork from different perspectives. For example, this artwork's dance changes its shape when the sculpture is rotated, and observant viewers can find words hidden in this hurricane. In the end, the visitor can save their exhibition experience as a picture or a video and delight others with it by sharing it as an AR story in the 3DBear app.
So now we've looked two use cases, one in interior design and retail placement, one in artworks. So let's look at more K through 12 use case next. So this is a use case where students made a project regarding local urban design. So this phenomenon-based learning is a big topic in the world, and project-based learning. And augmented reality is the perfect tool for doing projects that utilize PBL in many ways. So this is an example. What happened here is that in Espoo, which is the second biggest city of Finland, they built a metro line, an underground. And students were participated in the urban design of it. So there were metro stations being built locally, and students thought in groups with the design thinking methodology, how would I like to be our local metro station like? And they asked questions in groups like what makes a functional metro station, how would children improve it, and so on. They thought about what makes great metro station design, how would I like to have it? And then when they kind of ideated their solutions, after that, they went to the metro stations. And at the metro stations, they checked, is this what I wanted? We wanted to, on the metro station, we wanted to have a clock visible so that we could see the time when I go to metro. Well, here I don't see a clock. So let me just put, using 3DBear app, a clock there. So this would actually improve the metro station for me. And they made a lot of different suggestions for the local metro stations. So the children were participated in the local urban design using our tool. So one of the points was that they wanted to have more green, more plants in the area to make it more comfortable. And they came up with all of these ideas. How they'd like to improve the metro station design. And this list was given to the decision makers, the city urban planning committee, the mayor. We actually organized again an exhibition in a museum showcasing the children's work. And what's great, some of that has been realized. So the students have affected their local metro station design. And think about how much democratic decision-making, student voice this brings up. It's a really empowering experience for these school children to understand that my voice matters. I can affect my local environment. And I'm very proud of this project we did. So that's another example in K through 12 that how you can use 3DBear for teaching. There are many more, and soon I will let you do one yourself. So there's over 500 different subject areas where you can use the app for in different grades and different education levels. I've just given 3 examples here because our time today is limited. But what is important is that our solution enables teachers to design their own activities. And that makes it, like I said, the pen of the metaverse. So yes, there's a lot of ready-made lessons, curriculum content, very easy to use, but you can use it to build anything. You can make your own collections, your own lessons. It's unlimited what you can do in the app. And this is what I want to leave you with regarding this introduction session. When you do it, when you build your own lesson or activity using 3DBear, it's really important to plan it right. So when teachers today, they plan lessons, they might plan slides, PowerPoint slides. So planning an augmented or virtual reality exercise for students requires a little bit of a different process of planning the lesson than using PowerPoint does. And this is what we can teach to anybody in our 3DBear academies. It involves these stages, but today the time is short to go too deep on it. But if you're interested, if you want to become an ambassador teacher using augmented and virtual reality, we encourage you to sign up for 3DBear Academy to really harness these tools that you've seen the power of. So let's get back to the kind of benefits of how you use XR in education. You saw 3 examples. So what XR enables is learning hands-on or artistic skills remotely. Remember the arts exhibition. Students can do the tasks at their own pace and they can do it together. So it's individual and scalable. You don't need travel, you don't need equipment to do the virtual exercise. It saves time and money. Using AR and VR is already a competition advantage on the job market. Some of the teachers, well, almost all of our ambassador teachers have got promoted in their work when they've brought these technologies into their schools. Also, students, when they graduate, they're hot in the job market when they know how to use this new technology. Other benefits include experimentation, so you can practice like dangerous or expensive mistakes kind of in a safe environment. And also, let's say chemistry, you can fast forward a chemical reaction in a virtual simulation, whereas like in a lab, if you did real reagents, it would take like 2 days to react and then you see the results. Here you can speed up the time. So these are benefits of using XR and AR specifically. Remember, it was augmented reality and virtual reality. So considering augmented reality, the impact assessments that have been made, the research of our work show that 3 concrete benefits of augmented reality pedagogically exist. 1, you can interact with the environment. So this is not possible in virtual reality, for example. What this means is students can be part of the scenes that they create themselves. For example, making plays with people acting. They can be like Steven Spielberg's directing movies using augmented reality. Second, kinesthetic and visual learners flourish. So this is obviously hands-on doing. Some people learn well by reading or in a social interaction, but for those who don't, this is really great tool by learn by building. And we found that in especially special needs students learn better because they're able to concentrate better without social pressure using AR and VR. Finally, there's a pedagogical theory called Bloom's taxonomy, which says that creation is the highest form of learning. So you saw an example where you created a retail product placement display. When you build it yourself, you actually need to think about a lot of different topics. What makes a good composition? What makes it appealing for a customer? What is the order of products I put in? And so on. This you don't learn easily by just reading from a book. at least the learning experience is very different. Or let's take an example of history. If you compose a historical scene, it's a very different learning experience that you build it yourself and then explain to others what's in the scene than you would be reading about that scene from a book or hearing about it from a teacher. So this increases the learning experience, hence the memory impact, hence learning results. So these are the concrete kind of impact benefits of using augmented reality in education. Okay, so we are 30 minutes into webinar, and now it's your time to shine. The rest 5 minutes, I will give you an exercise, and the rest of the webinar, the last 5 minutes, I'll look at the Q&A and answer, and I have a dialogue with you regarding the questions you might have. But now I ask you to do your maybe first augmented reality scene. So I would kindly ask you to, at least now, if you haven't done it already, download the 3DBear app. It's 3DBear written together from App Store or Google Play. And your task is tell a story. It can be any story you want. Story usually has a character, a setting, and then an action. So who, what, when, where are the kind of questions that you would like to answer telling a story. If you have a favorite story that is in your mind, children's fable maybe, you can depict it in augmented reality by making it into an AR scene. So this webinar is too short to give you a comprehensive teaching of how to use our app, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm trusting on you that you'll figure it out. You can tell a story using our app. And I ask you, take a video of your work and narrate it. Speak aloud the story. And when you're done with it, publish it as an AR story with hashtag 3DBearWebinar, so we can all see what stories we are creating today. Please, next 5 minutes is dedicated to this activity. I will be quiet. I will be reading the Q&A. And in 5 minutes, I'll look at the stories that have been published, and I will get back the questions and answers you might have had. Good luck creating your first augmented reality experience. We'll be back in 5. Keep doing for a minute or two. I will answer the Q&A, which is in written form, and you can see it in the Q&A section. Okay, thank you for your enthusiastic questions. I have answered some of them in text, and I hope you enjoyed telling a story using the app. I will answer a couple of questions live. So there's a couple of questions about what certificates can you obtain with AR VR? How do you start learning to use AR and VR in education? What is the 3DBear Academy? How to get in the future job? So that's actually a question together that I will answer soon. But a couple of two questions I answered before that. So one attendee has interest in drones and robotics. And the question is, can we make an AR of robot that we will make in the future prototype? And I think that's a great question, because augmented reality is good for prototyping. So you can, for example, if you design a 3D part with any tool that you have at your disposal, Tinkercad, Google, SketchUp, Autodesk, any CAD program, Blender if you're a professional. So if you design a 3D model, you can just upload it into a Sketchfab. That's an online 3D model repository. And if it's there, it's directly accessible with 3DBear. So you can search the name of the model in 3DBear app, and you'll find your own model in the app. So then when you have it, you can, if you're building, for example, a robot, you can go to your robot, take your phone, and put your part to the robot that you're building to see if it fits, if it's the right color, to see it in the real environment. So augmented reality is actually great for prototyping in that way. A great question. For example, another example is if you're designing a dress and want to kind of see if the buttons fit, you can make the buttons and put them into 3DBear app, and then look on the top of the dress whether these buttons are the kind of that you want, and then you can 3D print them. So you can use AR in prototyping in kind of adult, high kind of technical capability, not something that you start with, but this is what you can do when you're experienced enough. One question is about corporates and their learning needs. In our experience, corporations benefit more from virtual reality, and their scenario-based learning programs are really useful. So this is for employee training, employee induction, where you can practice skills required in job in a virtual simulation. And we are partners with Wanda VR, and we create this kind of simulations for corporations. So if you want to use it, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me and Divya. All right, and then to finish off the answer to the last question. So you asked whether if you want to learn more, then here you can sign up for 3DBear Academy and become an ambassador using augmented reality in classroom or work, if that's your cup of tea. So this is where you go. There's the QR code. And the easiest thing to do next is this short 4-session academy. It's very inexpensive. And with these 4 sessions, our professionals, Indian teachers, and 3DBear ambassadors, and our staff will guide you through more specifically how you use augmented reality in whatever context you ever wish. So please sign up for this if you want to know more, get more involved, become a 3DBear ambassador. And with that, I finish. And thank you for the session. It has been a pleasure presenting augmented reality with you today. And I hope that many of you will be contacting us, Divi and me, for further discussions and signing up for our 3DBear Academy. Thank you all for this beautiful evening together and this webinar.